Okay?
Thank you.
Mark, thank you.
Thank you. Once he gets, while he's shutting down, we can go to the next item, is Mr. Ron Drake. He's been here for a couple of days. He's visited with the several people in town, bankers, with myself, with business owners, met with lots of people about the redesign of Main Street, okay? And some of the things that he's brought up. And he's come up with some very interesting ideas, you know, and very interesting thoughts and processes. And this all falls in line with the Main Street program. They've got some money out there. One of the most interesting ones that I heard last night, and he doesn't even know that I said this, is that he brought up the concept of flipping Adair Street, the alleyway. What happened to double entrance in the alleyway, making it the alleyway, when you brought that up last night, the alleyway entrance on Adair Street, making that the front to front, and a highway access? Think about that. I went down there last night and did a lot of thinking about that and made some ideas, just turning, you know, where Wallpaper and More, where her shop is, the Crafty Tigers, making that a highway entrance along with a Adair Street entrance. Being able to put a parking lot in there and having that access right there. And that would be absolutely wonderful if you flipped that to come in from the highway as an access, not just Adair Street. And I thought that was one of the most interesting concepts I thought about, was right there, because that could be done real easy. He brought that concept together, and pretty simple by the alleyway. So he's got the ideas and some ideas, but he wasn't here just for that. He's going to tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly, okay? Because he did find out some things, and he met with some people, and we have a perception issue, and we just have to fix a perception issue. So I'll let you go forward.
I think you just did it.
Yeah.
First, let me seriously thank you guys for this opportunity to be here. Mayor Trammell, we had a great time getting to know you the past couple of days, and the tour in the retired police car and driving around town.
The Gray Ghost.
The Gray Ghost, yeah. It was a great time. And I want to tell you this, and I mean this sincerely. Everywhere I went in Pryor Creek, I ran into wonderful people. Everybody, we didn't run into. We did hear some things, and I'll talk about, you know, some concerns and frustrations and those kinds of things. But everybody I met here in Pryor Creek was wonderful people, and I congratulate you for that. This was super nice folks, and I feel like I have friends now here in Pryor that I'll have for a long time, and so I just commend you on that. Just it's a wonderful community to live in. I can see that. I didn't know that when I was coming tonight also that we were going to have the website branding and the demonstration displayed in the back. I think it all kind of falls in line with what you guys are trying to do. It looks like you're trying to be a little proactive rather than reactive, which is I can appreciate quite a bit. And so I think part of what I'm going to talk about a little bit is going to fall right in line. Travis, I think you nailed it. You said that Pryor needs to brand themselves. Personally, just so freebie, I think Pryor Creek is something you guys need to hang on to. It's your original name. It's a charming name. The creek, there's something about adding the creek to Pryor Creek. It makes it feel more comfortable, makes it feel like a place I want to come and visit. And so I would just really consider that. I know there's an issue with the post office and all that. I kind of heard some of that, but who cares about that? You know, you can put whatever you want to put on your trucks and your signs and your letterheads and your website. Pryor Creek is just really feels good.
It's the only Pryor Creek in the United States also.
That's right. That's right. So a good way to stand out from anywhere else. Okay, so the last couple of days, so I'm a downtown consultant, just so you know. Part of how I got to this point, just briefly, is I restored 17 buildings in downtown Siloam Springs and really helped convert an unlively downtown into literally one of the best downtowns, small towns in America by the Smithsonian Institute. We ranked number 14. Every year we're winning more and more awards by Main Street, by National Main Street. I speak at conferences and national conferences. I've spoke. That's how I got to know Oklahoma a little bit. I spoke at a national conference last year in New Orleans, and the Main Street architect for Oklahoma heard me speak, and then invited me to come to Sulphur, Oklahoma or at the end of last year, and then just got to know some of you folks. I'm going to be in Sapulpa next week, McAllister a couple weeks after that. So I'm really excited about this relationship that I'm building with Oklahoma. We're neighbors. I can throw a rock and hit in Oklahoma from Silent Springs. So I'm in Oklahoma all the time. And so that's just a little bit about me, and I kind of want to specialize in small towns. There's a lot of folks out there that are working and helping and doing stuff, but there's not very many that understand communities like this, and I feel like I do. So the last couple of days, just to kind of briefly let you know, in case you don't know exactly what I've been doing, I got here and I did a downtown tour in the snow practically yesterday, which was insane. I've had meetings with several downtown merchants, with many of the building owners, Main Street members, board members, different committee members. I've met with City Council, Planning and Zoning. Last night we did an excellent dinner and presentation to building owners. It was very well attended, and I was extremely impressed. There's 28 people, I think, that was there last night, and that is a huge sign to me that the building owners they're ready. They're ready to do something. They're ready to take action. And we got great response from them. I've met with bankers. I've met with insurance agents, realtors, city officials today. We had an excellent meeting today with BK. Is he standing up? Yep, his back's a little sore. Doug Moore, the mayor, Chief Thompson, and then I spent a lot of time touring some buildings and just doing some brainstorming. That's kind of the fun part, and that's where some of the ideas, like the alley use, which actually that's not totally from me. Larry Lucas, the architect for the state Main Street organization, kind of dropped that hint, I think, the first time to you guys, and they mentioned to it. But there were some other alleys that I actually thought. So, you know, one of the things when I first got here, I feel like I was kind of faced with adversity. I feel like there's a lot of people that, you know, when you live in your community, oftentimes you have a hard time seeing the opportunity, and you kind of just see the adversity, you see the challenges, but yet, honestly, right away, all I could see was potential. I mean, you guys have a ton of potential. Let me read just a little something I've jotted down. As downtowns across the country seek to reinvent themselves to remain vibrant urban centers, housing is clearly the answer to the question of how to revitalize the urban core by providing opportunities for activity throughout the day and night. You want your downtown to be vibrant day and night. You don't want your downtown to shut down at 5. You know, we talked a little bit about hearing about, you know, trash pickup and there's maybe some trash on the streets, and then they try to put in the trash cans, and people are stealing the insides of the trash cans out or whatever, just different things like that. Yeah. That doesn't happen when you're open 24/7. When you're open all the time, and there's people on the streets all the time, that kind of stuff goes away. Crime actually goes away. When there's more people downtown, the downtown polices itself a lot better. Success depends not simply on the addition of new housing, but creating an environment that attracts all age groups. You've got your middle school just right down the street. It would be great to see that more inviting for middle schoolers to come down here and meet their parents, different things like that. And other essential ingredients for successful, livable community include safety, cleanliness, restaurants, and meeting spaces like parks and benches. That third place, and you've heard of that saying, that third place. It's that place between your home and your work. It's a place you can just hang out and just relax and chill. Pryor has that opportunity here. And then again, successful downtowns offer a lively mixed bag of people, places, experiences, and entertainment. And there's some of those things you're lacking right there. So some of the opportunities I saw right off, well, I learned right off some of the challenges that you have is, which your kind of opportunities, kind of challenges, and one is the fact that your downtown lays on a Highway 20. And just learned really quickly about the challenges there, about that the state has control of that. You're really limited to what you can do. So I get that, and I don't have an answer for that right away. But some of the things that popped in my head, that did pop in my head right away, is your side streets, Adair, Van, and then we saw that Adair Street presentation. I mean, that's exactly where I was going. So take a look at that when you're heading out. It's right in line. There's your opportunity. There's something the city can do pretty easily, and I realize it costs money. Pretty easily, there's an area where you can clean up your downtown. You can do some things there that because you can't do anything that much on Highway 20 at least. Those streets are going to be, that's your spot where you can pull off and just chill and walk and shop. There's a lot of shops there. I see restaurant potential there. So make those side streets feel like a main street. Park benches, trees, and within those there's some good alleys that you can utilize. There's a lot of the backs of the buildings, not just the one you talked about there, Mayor, but some other alleys that can be utilized to kind of make some storefronts. Just a little bit of lighting is really all it takes. You guys have really nice alleys. You really do. You show pride in your community by things like that. You've already got some really good businesses to grow off of. You have some successful businesses downtown, so you have that base. You have some really good things to grow from. And one of the biggest deals, you need to incorporate downtown, or incorporate residential into the downtown. You need restaurants. The best way, I say the best way you bring lives downtown or to bring life downtown is to bring lives downtown. Literally bring lives downtown through people living there, eating there, shopping there. You want an experience. And I think you're lacking that experience right now. Right now you'll go downtown to get what you need, get out of there. You want people to have an experience with what's going on at Mid-America. Those folks that are working there, what's going on with Google, I heard a lot about Google. You know, those folks that are working there, they want to come into your downtown and they want an experience. And I'm certain they want to live there as well. So the other opportunity that I saw that I was just super impressed, because I was concerned about this really when I got here, was the building owners. I don't know if this is recent. I don't know if this has been brewing. I don't know what it is, but the building owners that I talked to are ready to take the charge. They're ready to do something. And we'll talk a little bit about their concerns here in just a second. So, you know, if the building owners are ready to do something, then I think it's time for City Hall to stand behind that charge and see what what you guys need to do to support them. So some things to improve on that I learned. Every meeting I went to, and I'm just going to throw it out there, but every meeting I went to, there is a concern of the lack of cooperation between City Hall and developers and building owners. And I'm saying that in a political way. They're concerned about the restrictions from building code and just that overall relationship between city staff and construction and development. I think some of these things are probably some older issues that this won't die. Some of it may be just a reputation, and some of it's very real. And so I think that one of the things you guys really need to focus on is it's time to change that perception. If it is a perception, if it's reality, you need to change it to reality as well. But if it's a perception that you're hard to deal with, and and if that perception is going beyond the city limits, the city of Pryor, time to shift that to we're not hard to deal with, but we're open for business. We are ready for business. We are ready for development. And let's figure out how to make that happen. Some of the things we talked. I had a great meeting with your city staff, as I mentioned earlier today, and I mean really a great meeting. And I feel like you guys are on the right track. And without sharing too much of that, I'm sure you guys will talk about that internally, some of those meetings. But we talked about creating some systems that might feel a little bit painful at first when someone wants to maybe do a renovation on a building. I'm going to stick with mostly downtown stuff. The newer developments probably aren't as much of a problem, Someone wants to do a downtown project, there needs to be maybe a stricter system at first. One of the things we talked about is possibly giving an architect involved to do a code review, not like paying for a full-fledged architectural set of drawings, but this architect that specializes in code, that maybe even one that specializes in historic code or older buildings, existing buildings, and come in and walk through the building with the customer and kind of explain to him, here's what you're going to have to do. And even if it's bad news, even if you're going to have to sprinkle this, or you're going to have to build a ramp, or you're going to have to add a back door, if it's bad news, at least let that owner know right up front. And then the owner can probably still come in and sketch something on a napkin if he wants to and apply for the permit. At that point, it doesn't matter so much where he's going to put the walls. What matters is the life safety issues and these things that a lot of these owners are feeling like are happening, midstream into the project. They feel like they're coming in saying, here's what we're going to do, and then halfway through the project is when maybe things change, because the reality is maybe that's the first time that the building inspector stepped in the building. So, well, I didn't know about that. Well, we have to fix that. We have to do something about that. So trying to do some steps up front. I think it's educating everybody up front, because downtown revitalization is a tricky deal. I get that. It's a different animal. I think you're getting ready to be on the verge of more than one at a time going. I think it was maybe a little bit easier to address one building at a time if it's only one every 6 months or one every couple of months. But I think it's really close for this snowball to happen. And so I think it's be really important for you to come up with a system that just addresses these issues right up front. And I think you got the right people in place. I really was really impressed and glad to see that Doug Moore has a planning background. One of the things I heard throughout this, which I totally agree, is that you need a planner. You need a plan. You need a downtown plan, really. You need to. I mean, this is great. That's a great rendering, but you need a little bit beyond that. And you need to start thinking about, what do we want our downtown to look like? Where do we want it to go? Who do we want in our downtown? Those kinds of things. And you need a downtown plan. Let's see. I talked about Google. I talked Main Street. I'm super impressed with your Main Street. You guys should be proud. I didn't even realize how young the organization is. And you've got a great Main Street organization. You've got leadership from the state that cares about Pryor Creek. The director of State Main Street was here yesterday just to come by. And she had other things to have to do, but she came by just to let Main Street know, and she came, was a meet and greet, just to let people know that they care, and you got great people there that'll come and help you. So Main Street is definitely someone you need to work closely with. And then I guess the last thing that I've just really got the feeling that you guys need to do and preach is you need to believe. You need to believe that you've got what it takes. I'm telling you, you do. I mean, I can see it. And again, I'll use Mid-America again as another example. I mean, that opportunity alone is incredible to have right there in your backyard. And you've got what it takes. You've got the people. I feel like you've got the building owners that want to see it. Everybody I'm met with wants to see your downtown revitalized. So you have the desire. You've got all the pieces of the puzzle. You just got to put them all together as a team. You guys need to partner with these building owners. You need to partner with those developers somehow. You need to figure out if there's a couple of buildings that's going to get renovated on Adair Street, let's say, then that's a good time to say, okay, let's go in there and check out those sidewalks, or let's go and let's look at those street trees, or what can we do to help improve this as well? I think there was a lot of questions, what can the city do for us? And I'm like, well, what are you going to do for the city? I mean, I'm throwing it back on the developers as well. But it's a group effort. It's a group effort. And I need you guys to work as a team, because it's not going to work if you don't. It's not going to lay on any one of your shoulders. It won't work if it's on your shoulders alone, and it won't work if it's on the building owner's shoulders alone. So, yeah, 2 days. I'm sure in a couple of days I'll probably have a few more thought process. I did not get a break literally from one break to the next. I think my longest break was about 30, 45 minutes to get ready for this. So I'm sure there'll be more things that come, but that was kind of my findings in 2 days. And I'm be available for any questions any of you might have, something I might
One of the comments that I found interesting too was handicap restrooms, okay?
Yeah,
You know, why do we have to put handicap restrooms in these businesses, okay, when it's just private? Well, you know, it's like you put it, it's code.
right.
And he explained to the business owners that it's code. It's something you have to do. We may not like it, but you've got to do it.
Right.
You know, that's part of it. He explained to the owners about the importance of getting architect in there to help them figure out what it cost, because the architect cost on the front of it. He wasn't just on one side. Ron wasn't. He gave it back to the people, the insurance cost. If they've got a question, he came back, just right or wrong. He told them the positive and the negatives of every aspect of it. And that's one of the things that I really enjoyed about this presentation was, then when we got downtown, was the number of available lofts. I think he looked at some of the apartments up there and saw what the potential is. There's a lot of potential for apartments. And one of the things he brought up that he said today that was really interesting, parking. We don't have a parking problem. Everybody says we have a parking problem. He says we do not have a parking problem downtown. And he says that we don't have. He says that's one of the things everybody says we do, but he says you don't.
Right.
And so I
Yeah, a
found
good
that
thing to ever do if you ever feel like if you're getting to this point where you're concerned about a parking problem, a really good thing to do would be to get a aerial, maybe of Walmart's parking, and then maybe place it over your core downtown and see how far and how wide that parking goes. It's a perception oftentimes. If you can't park right in front of the space, but you're still 9 times out of 10 parking closer than you are when you go to Walmart. So it's about education. It's a perception. Yeah, but I think the key that I hope that you guys recognize, and we all recognize, is it's going to be really difficult if your true goal is to have a vibrant, revitalized downtown. Residential and restaurants are your biggest key. You're lacking that severely. There's just something about that vibrancy that occurs when there's people that live downtown. There's something about that ownership that occurs. You know, we had a little bit of a discussion about maybe trash, about pride. There's trash picked up on the not being picked up on the side of the road or whatever. The more the people there are down there, the more chances. You know, we might have a thought, because we think of New York City. Well, you guys we're never in New York City here, right? So in small town America, when there's people that live downtown, they develop pride. It's almost like our home. It's their home. You know, the whole downtown is your home. So there's less of that thrown on the ground. There's more of that being picked up and thrown in the trash. There's actually less crime. There's you want to pull up to a restaurant, especially if you haven't been to it. So if we're talking about drawing people in from other areas as well. You don't want to pull up that restaurant and you walk in, there's nobody in there. You don't want to pull up that restaurant and it's easy to find a spot right in front and there's no cars around. It makes you nervous. You're like, uh-oh, this is what they make some people sick last week, you know? So when you get there and it's hard to find, there's people walking up and down the streets. You walk inside, you see people. That's the restaurant you want to be at. That's that experience that I talked about. And so when you get to the point when you truly have a parking problem, that is a great place to be in. That's a great place to be in, because you're at a point where you can afford to purchase land and do some things or whatever, because the tax revenues are there, because you've just got this vibrancy. So you're not there yet, I promise you, but you can be.
Other questions? I want to say thanks to the Main Street, thanks to the business owners, thank you. Will you be putting this out in a written format, or in any way, will you be putting this out for a written format with to the Main Street?
I'll send Main Street some of my notes in a more of a detailed list, and like give it a couple of days to kind of.
And don't be political.
No, I won't.
Because that's one of the problems, is don't be political. You know, just because we heard some things. You know, things is people worked me over pretty good last night on certain things, you know, but rightly so. But you know, that's some of the things we found. But some of them, when he did, some of them wasn't our fault. He brought that back to the other side of the equation. It wasn't the city's fault. It was the city's in error. And so that's where we're at with this thing.
It's good to know. It's
Yeah.
good to know what people think, whether it's right or wrong, if it's perception.
Yeah,
If it's a little bit of, it's a combo of both.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it's good to know.
And Tim today felt like he's been picked on, but he wasn't being picked on, our fire chief.
Right.
It was just things we have to work on.
That's right. Well, thank you very much for this opportunity. If there's ever anything I can do to help great city of Pryor Creek, you let me know. I'd love to come back. And I wish you the best of luck. I think you've got
Thank
it.
you. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. I will say on